From players dropping balls just an inch too far, to losing a major with one brainless move. These are the dumbest mistakes ever made in golf history. And first we start with number 15. The year is 1994, and we're in beautiful Bali, Indonesia. The sun's shining, the ocean's sparkling, and Nick Faldo is absolutely crushing it at the Alfred Dunhill Masters. The legendary Englishman is picking apart this tropical course like he's playing miniature golf, building a commanding lead. But then, everything flipped. One tiny detail, and the entire thing came crashing down like a house of cards. During round 3, Faldo's in a bunker, getting ready to hit a shot. He spots a bit of coral in his way and casually flicks it aside. No big deal, right? Like brushing away a leaf. But that tiny move? It changed everything. In golf's crazy rulebook, that coral wasn't just junk. It was considered part of the course. And by moving it, he was building a stance. A massive violation. Nobody caught it at the moment, not Faldo, not the other players, not even the officials wandering around. But someone watching the footage from home noticed, and by the time Faldo reached the 12th hole in the final round, crushing the competition by 6 shots, officials dropped the bomb. He was out, immediate, disqualified on the spot. Later, Faldo owned up to it. He'd been playing so much on the European Tour where you can move stones in bunkers that he forgot this tournament used different rules. A simple oversight and a tiny piece of coral that cost him the championship. For our 14th spot, we fast forward to 2021 and head to the stunning cliffs of Torrey Pines. The US Open is underway, and Bryson DeChambeau, the guy who bulked up and started smashing drives, is out to defend his title from the year before. Heading into the final round, Big Bryson wasn't just in the hunt, he was leading. His scientific approach and protein shake muscles were paying off big time. But sometimes, even the most scientific minds can't account for the chaos theory of golf. As DeChambeau made the turn to the back 9, something inexplicable happened. The golfer, who had mapped every inch of the course with precision instruments, suddenly couldn't find the fairway. The collapse was epic, 8 over par on the back 9 alone. But the real disaster struck on the 17th. His tee shot went somewhere no golf ball should ever end up, and his recovery only made things worse. Then came a shank so brutal, the commentators were left in stunned silence. 4 putts later, and he walked off with a quadruple bogey 8. Just like that, in the span of 9 holes, he had plummeted from leader to a tie for 26th place. His hopes of back-to-back US Open titles had evaporated in the San Diego sun. After the round, DeChambeau tried to explain away the collapse as just a series of bad breaks, suggesting it was simply golf and life, and that he'd lacked confidence in his swing. But to the rest of the golf world, it looked like one of the dumbest self-destruct sequences we'd ever seen at a major. Number 13 drops us into the sweltering heat of Memphis, Tennessee, at the 1998 FedEx St. Jude Classic. And once again, who else but John Daly, golf's ultimate rebel with a driver in one hand and a Diet Coke in the other. It was the final round, and Daly was grinding through a rough day. Then came the par 4 17th hole, the scene of a meltdown that could make even Happy Gilmore cringe. He pulled out a 5-iron and launched it out of bounds. Frustrating, sure, but hey, it happens. He took his drop, reset, and then did it again. Same club, same result, out of bounds. That's when Daly snapped, literally. He broke his 5-iron in half right there on the course. The gallery watched in stunned silence as golf's bad boy let the rage take over. He somehow finished the hole and wrapped up the round with a 74. But the chaos didn't stop there. In the ultimate, "You've got to be kidding me" move, Daly forgot, or just refused, to sign his scorecard. The result? Disqualified. Later, he summed it up the only way Daly could. That was stupid. Another entry in the long list of golf's dumbest mistakes, and another chapter in the legend of John Daly. Coming in at number 12, we're heading across the pond to Royal Lytham and St. Anne's for the 2001 Open Championship. Picture this nightmare. You're tied for the lead in the final round of a major. You crush your first drive right down the middle. Life is good. Then, suddenly, your caddy whispers something that makes your blood run cold. That's exactly what happened to Ian Woosnam, the Welsh former Masters champion who was right in the mix for another major title. As Woosie walked down the first fairway, his caddy Miles Byrne pulled him aside with some horrible news. They had 2 drivers in the bag. The rules of golf only allow 14 clubs total. Woosnam had 15, so he was hit with a 2-stroke penalty. He was so mad he grabbed the extra driver and chucked it to the ground. He laid into his caddy, telling him he had one job to do and couldn't even get that right. Just like that, Woozy went from tied for the lead to 2 shots back before he'd even reached his first approach shot. He ended up finishing tied for third, 4 shots behind David Duval. Ouch. The mistake cost him around £218,000 and maybe a Ryder Cup spot. Surprisingly, Woosnam initially didn't fire his caddy, saying everyone makes mistakes. But, plot twist, he did fire him just 2 weeks later when Burns slept through a tee time. Looks like second chances only go so far. Our 11th spot introduces us to a rules controversy so bizarre you'll be scratching your head after hearing this. So, we're at the 2021 Solheim Cup, where Team USA and Team Europe are battling it out at Inverness Club. Here, Nelly Korda, world number 1, hits this amazing putt on the 13th hole. It rolls right up to the lip of the cup and stops. So close. Europe's Madeline Sagström, just doing what golfers do thousands of times a day, walks over, picks up the ball, and hands it back to Korda. No big deal, right? Wrong. Cue the rules officials and the video replays. It turns out, according to Rule 13.3b, if a ball is hanging over the edge, players get 10 full seconds to see if it might somehow magically defy gravity and fall in. Sagström picked it up after just 7 seconds. 7 freaking seconds. After huddling around monitors like they were examining crime scene footage, officials made their ruling. Korda would be awarded the eagle. The US team got a 1-up lead, which is exactly how they won the match. Everyone was uncomfortable. Sagström insisted the ball had no chance of dropping and said she'd never pick up a ball that might still fall in. Even Korda looked awkward about winning the hole like that. What should have been an exciting competition suddenly felt like a courtroom drama. And just like that, a moment of instinct turned into one of the dumbest and most costly mistakes in Solheim Cup history. Next, number 10, and we're stepping onto the hallowed grounds of Augusta National in 2016. The Masters is just getting underway, and South African star Ernie Els, nicknamed the Big Easy for his smooth, flowing swing, is about to experience a moment that was anything but easy. If you've ever had the yips while putting, you can relate to what happened next, but probably not this bad. Els was playing the first hole. After missing the green, he chipped to within 3 feet. A knee knocker, but nothing a 4-time major champion can't handle, right? What happened next was like watching a car crash in slow motion. His first putt missed, then the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth. By the time he finally got the ball in the hole, Els had taken 6 putts from 3 feet away. Yep, 6. He walked off with a 9 on a par 4, and the tournament had barely started. The crowd went silent. The commentators couldn't find words. Even Els looked like he'd seen a ghost. Later, he tried explaining it, saying he literally couldn't pull the putter back, like his body just froze. He said it felt like having snakes in his head. The yips had claimed another victim, but never so dramatically or painfully as this. Number 9 brings us to a moment when following the rules to the letter meant throwing sportsmanship right out the window. We're at the 2000 Solheim Cup, and the tension between Team USA and Team Europe is already at fever pitch. Sweden's Annika Sorenstam hit this amazing chip shot on the 13th hole. The ball tracked perfectly, rolled right into the cup, and Annika started celebrating. A chip-in birdie. But hold everything, the Americans spotted something. U.S. player Kelly Robbins and captain Pat Bradley claimed Annika played out of turn, a tiny breach of match play etiquette. The officials huddled up and dropped an unexpected ruling. Sorenstam had to replay the shot. Let me explain. There's no actual penalty in the rulebook for playing out of turn in match play. The other team just has the option to make you replay the shot if they want to, and boy did the Americans want to. So Annika, completely rattled, had to go back and try the miracle shot again. Of course, she missed the second time. The Americans won the hole and halved the match. People still argue about this one. Was it fair play or dirty pool? Were the Americans just using the rules to their advantage, or did they cross a line? All we know is that Annika never forgot it, and neither did golf fans. It's the Solheim moment that just won't die. At the 8th spot on our countdown, we're watching a man lose a battle with a forest. The place is TPC San Antonio. The year is 2011. And Kevin Na is about to give us a hole so bad it barely seems possible. Na was cruising along until he reached the par 4 9th hole. Then things went sideways, literally. His tee shot disappeared into the thick woods. Instead of just punching out safely, Na tried to be a hero. Bad idea. His second shot went deeper into the jungle. His third shot? Even worse. What followed was straight out of a golf nightmare. He hit a tree, and the ball bounced back and hit him in the leg. He tried hitting left-handed. He completely whiffed on one swing. The players behind him, including Adam Scott and Jeff Ogilvy, could only watch in amazement. By the time the torture ended, Na had taken 16 strokes on a par 4. That's right, 16. No, we're not kidding. No, it's not a mistake. 16 shots on one hole. But the craziest part? Na played the other 17 holes that day in 4 under par. Take away that disaster, and he's near the top of the leaderboard instead of shooting 80. Afterward, Na could barely remember what happened, calling it all a blur. No kidding. When you take more strokes on one hole than most people need for 3 holes, things get a little fuzzy. The 7th spot on our list takes us to a teenager's dream turning into a nightmare. The year is 2005, and Michelle Wie, the most hyped golf prodigy since Tiger Woods, is making her professional debut at the Samsung World Championship. But this is going to be a rough first day on the job. Wie's pro debut seemed like the perfect start to a superstar career. The teenage phenom finished in 4th place, banking both prize money and respect from her peers. But then came a twist no one saw coming. News that left everyone asking the same question. Wait, what just happened? A Sports Illustrated reporter had been watching when Michelle took a drop from an unplayable lie during the 3rd round. The eagle-eyed journalist noticed something fishy. The ball looked like it ended up slightly closer to the hole than it should have. Officials reviewed the situation and dropped the hammer. Michelle had indeed taken an incorrect drop. Since she'd already signed her scorecard without adding the penalty strokes, she was disqualified. 4th place? Gone. Prize money? Gone. Instead of celebrating her arrival on the pro scene, a tearful Wie had to face the press and admit she'd learned a hard lesson. The teenager who was supposed to take over the golf world got a brutal wake-up call about how unforgiving the rules can be. For our 6th most shocking golf mistake, we head to Saudi Arabia in 2019, where Spanish star Sergio Garcia showed the world what happens when a pro golfer completely loses his cool. Even 9-year-olds know not to damage the greens. But apparently, Sergio didn't get the memo. To be fair, the 2019 Saudi International was already controversial because of where it was held. Then, Garcia added his own flavor of chaos. After making the cut and heading for a solid finish, something in him just snapped. Frustrated with the condition of the greens, he decided to make them worse. The fiery Spaniard dragged his feet across 5 putting surfaces, leaving scuff marks and damage behind for everyone else. And this wasn't a one-off outburst. He did it hole after hole. Players behind him complained, officials reviewed it, and once they confirmed what happened, they disqualified Garcia for serious misconduct. Oh, and the day before, cameras caught him going full rage mode on a bunker after a bad shot. For a major champion and Ryder Cup icon to throw a toddler-style tantrum was wild. Garcia apologized later, but the damage to the greens and his reputation was already done. Sliding into our top 5, we meet our friend Bryson DeChambeau again. This time we're at the 2020 Memorial Tournament, where he is about to give us a masterclass in how not to handle a rules dispute. And trust me, this guy really knows how to argue a ruling. So DeChambeau was playing the par 5 15th hole when his drive found a creek. After dropping, his 3rd shot flew way right toward a boundary fence. Most players would accept the official's ruling that the ball was out of bounds. But not Bryson. He challenged the first official, muttering about getting garbage rulings as usual and demanding a second opinion. When another official showed up and confirmed the ball was OB, Bryson still wouldn't let it go. He even brought up how Phil Mickelson got to play a similar shot at a different tournament. Finally, after exhausting all his arguments, DeChambeau had to play his 7th shot. He ended up with a 10 on the hole and missed the cut. The whole episode showed how DeChambeau would fight tooth and nail over every inch on a golf course, even when the evidence was clearly against him. Some call it competitive fire, others call it just plain stubborn. Our 4th craziest golf mistake takes us back to 1987, where we learn that sometimes trying to keep your pants clean can cost you nearly $40,000. Craig Stadler, nicknamed the Walrus for his stocky build and distinctive mustache, was right in the hunt at the Andy Williams San Diego Open. During the 3rd round at Torrey Pines, his ball ended up under a tree, forcing him to kneel to play the shot. The ground was wet from overnight rain, so Stadler did what any of us would do. He put a towel down to kneel on. Makes sense, right? Wrong. That towel would become one of the most expensive pieces of fabric in golf history. Stadler finished the tournament tied for 2nd place, But as he walked off the 18th green on Sunday, an official came and said he was disqualified. Some viewer had called in after seeing a replay pointing out that Stadler's towel violated Rule 13-3 against building a stance. Because he hadn't added a two-stroke penalty before signing his Saturday scorecard, he was out. But hear this, because the story isn't over yet. The guy who called it in thought he was watching Sunday's live action, not a Saturday replay. Had he known it was from the previous day, he claims he never would have made the call. So there you have it. A guy tried to keep his pants clean and got kicked out of a tournament for it. Golf's rulebook strikes again. As we approach the top three, our next shocker happened in 2010, when Hall of Famer Julie Inkster learned that staying loose during a delay could torpedo her entire tournament. Inkster was playing brilliantly at the Safeway Classic. She was just 3 shots off the lead and looking like a contender when disaster struck in the most unexpected way. She faced a 30-minute wait at the 10th hole. To kill time and stay loose, she stuck a weighted donut on her 9-iron and took some practice swings. Seems harmless, right? Millions of golfers use these training aids at the driving range every day. But a TV viewer spotted it and called in. Using training aids during a round is against the rules, even during a delay. By the time officials confirmed the violation, Inkster was already on the 17th hole. After finishing her round, they broke the news. She was disqualified. Inkster was stunned, explaining that she was just trying to stay warm during the long wait and that it gave her no advantage whatsoever. But golf's rulebook doesn't care about your intentions, only your actions. Our runner-up takes us to Augusta National in 1968, where we witness perhaps the most heartbreaking scorecard error in golf history. Roberto De Vicenzo, the Argentinian who had won the Open the year before, played lights out in the final round at Augusta. It was even his 45th birthday, with fans singing to him all day. De Vicenzo shot what should have been a 65, tying Bob Goalby at 11 under. A playoff was coming, right? Nope. When checking scorecards, everyone discovered a terrible error. De Vicenzo's playing partner Tommy Aaron had written down a par 4 for Roberto on the 17th hole, when he'd actually made a birdie 3. And here's the killer, Roberto signed the card without noticing the mistake. In golf, if you sign for a score higher than you actually shot, that's the score you're stuck with. Instead of being tied at 11 under, De Vicenzo was officially at 10 under. No playoff. Goalby was the champion. When De Vicenzo realized what happened, his reaction in broken English became one of golf's most famous quotes ever. "What a stupid I am." Yeah, lamenting his own stupidity in a way that's been repeated for decades. This mistake cost him a green jacket and turned his birthday celebration into a brutal lesson about double-checking your scorecard. And finally, we've reached the undisputed champion of the dumbest golf mistakes, the moment that tops our list of the biggest blunders in golf history. It's 1999, we're at Carnoustie for the Open Championship, and we're about to witness a collapse so epic, they still make documentaries about it decades later. Jean Van de Velde, a relatively unknown Frenchman, stood on the 18th tee with a 3-shot lead. All he needed was a double bogey 6 on the final hole to become the first French Open winner since 1907. What happened next was pure, unfiltered madness. Instead of playing it safe, Van de Velde pulled out his driver. Bold move. His tee shot sailed right but somehow avoided the water hazard. He was still in decent shape. Then came decision number 2. Rather than laying up, he went for the green with a 2-iron. The ball clanked off the grandstand, bounced backward, and ended up in nasty rough. His third shot, splash, right into the Barry Burn water hazard. What followed became one of golf's most surreal images. Van de Velde taking off his shoes and socks, wading into the water, and actually considering hitting the ball from there. Nobody couldn't believe what they were seeing. He eventually took a drop, hit his 5th shot into a bunker, and needed to get up and down just to make a triple bogey 7 and force a playoff. Somehow, he sank a 6-footer for that triple bogey, and made it into a playoff with Paul Lawrie and Justin Leonard. Lawrie eventually won, while Van de Velde became synonymous with sporting collapse. It's the ultimate reminder that in golf, it ain't over till it's over, and that making smart decisions under pressure matters more than raw talent. Oh, and now that you're still with us, we have another great golf video for you to watch, right in the middle of the screen. Enjoy.